pronounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want a ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
We're here for this show. Super excited to get this show here. We got two of the GOATs. First off, we're going to go with the M-Man. What's up, M-Man?
Hey, I'm good, Mike. I don't know whether it's intentional on you, but for those who don't know, when this stream opens, you can hear Mike in the background of the opening. And I swear he puts more and more, because he knows I know, and I swear he's trying to make me break, because I'm sat here, I can hear him, and I'm just wanting to burst out laughing. And I think you're doing it deliberately now, Mike. But
yes, I absolutely was doing it deliberately, and I was watching your reaction.
You're getting close. I'm going to break eventually.
And clearly it worked. Folks, we got a GOAT here, man. I didn't expect this. So happy. We got the man of steel here, Kurt Steele. What's going on, bro?
What's up, family? What's going on, Live Nation Unite? Mike, my man. And you know who it is. Jathan Statham Jr. Jr.'s in the building, man. It's good to see everyone. Good to hear from everyone, man. I'm just so happy to be here with you guys.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, we got the two GOATs here, and they're going to get along here and go after it. So we're obviously talking about the draft. We'll talk a little bit about after the draft, right? The Lions could make some moves. That'd be kind of interesting. And let's just get into it right now. Curtis Steele, man, initial thoughts of this draft. What did you think?
I was very excited. I was actually in the Caribbean watching it on a cruise ship, and that first pick, man, I was right with the crowd at in Detroit, man. Terrion Arnold, I love the pick, man. I love to we were able to get him and not have to give up everything, you know what I'm saying, the one next year and everything with all those things. I was actually, Ant and I were on with Dan before I left, and I said I wanted us to go ahead and get a corner. I was like, man, it's enough of this. We haven't got a good corner in the first round. People will say Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah was overdrafted. I didn't like that pick. I was okay with it when it happened, but I was like, I mean, because he hadn't proven himself against top receivers at Ohio State. If you look at the guys he played against, really wasn't a proven talent, you know. But you look at Terrion Arnold. You look at how he's been a dog since day one at Alabama. It was a no-brainer for me for us to go up and get him. That was the guy I believe Brad Holmes had targeted, and he doubled down and went and got Ricochet in the second round. I'm happy with that. Our biggest problem last year were big plays down the field, and we got two guys that can cover in man and in zone coverage, and they fit the bill with how the Detroit Lions play and how Aaron Glenn's defense is set up, because they play in the run defense. Two of the top-rated PFF guys as far as run defense last year in college football. I was excited. We got depth pieces. You know, we got offensive line, we got defensive line. We got a guy who can play running back, safety, special teams. I mean, you look at this draft, we got what we needed for this team, and Brad Holmes did a remarkable job. I believe. I think it's an A.
What do you think, man? You look at this draft from beginning to end. What did you think? You know, you can do a grade 2 at the end as well.
I'm still trying to process my feelings on a lot of this draft. I think still a lot of time. I need some more time to pass at this moment. The double dip at corner, I'm fine with. Like, we predicted they were going to do that. Maybe not with the first two picks that they had, but Like, we were all screaming blue murder last year about our pass defense. It's been awful for some time, and we needed significant investment. And free agents are, as we know very well in Detroit, they are not a surefire thing. Like, we have all the hopes and expectations in the world for some of these guys, and we get nothing from them. So it's safer to get your guys in, develop them from the bottom up, and get them playing the way you want. So I don't mind that at all. The trades on day 2, I'm still day 3. Sorry, I'm still trying to come to terms with. Like, I'm not sold on either of them yet, and I still need a bit more time to think about it. But then you go into day 3. One of them's amazing pick. One of them might be, again, not crazy, but I do a lot of work on college prospects over the year, and that, so I can't just walk back things I've been saying for the last 6, 7, 8 months and then say, yay, I'm amazed about this. So I think at the top, definitely Arnold, love that. Like, I'm saying months before this draft, they were going to trade up because the defensive talent was going to fall. A lot of teams made a lot of stupid picks above us for offensive players. It pushed that talent right down. We got smashing value for it. So yeah, it's a bit of both for me, and I'm still having to think about a few of these picks. And I'm looking at grading. I don't like grading drafts right away because then I just look stupid in a few years when they come through. So let's just say I'm intrigued, but of course Brad knows what he's doing, so I trust him in the process at the end of the day. But I do have questions.
Who was your favorite draft pick?
Oh, Mahogany by a million miles. Like, I got him at day 2 easily. Like, I had a list. There was Haynes first, and then Mahogany was the guy afterwards. And I'm still confused about why he went so low. I know it's probably, I definitely know it's not character concerns because I've done way too much work on him to know it's character concerns. It's the knee, obviously the ACL. We saw with Peyton Wilson earlier in the draft. Like, he didn't have an ACL left. He's been playing the last 18 months at NC State without an ACL. So maybe it was a little worse than anticipated. Maybe the long-term outlook for him isn't sweet in terms of like a 10-year career doing all this and that. But he shouldn't have been there. And he offers us such great versatility because he plays both guard spots. I fully expect him to have wrestled away that job from Zeitler by the end of the year. And, you know, then you can, if you want to move him next year, if you want to right guard him, you can do, etc. It's just so good for us. He comes from an authentic system that creates NFL caliber linemen, you know, for breakfast. Like, he's an absolute steal, and he's going to be starting sooner rather than later. I want him to get Zeitler's job as soon as physically possible, because then that's going to be one of the new guys on the line. That's going to be one of these areas fixed of the future.
What about Giovanni?
Wait a minute.
Oh, go ahead.
Are you changing your background? Because why is somebody else on the couch now? Like,
What's that?
Are you changing your background on purpose? Because you throw me off. All of a sudden, there's somebody else on the couch.
Jared Goff joined the party, man. He joined the party.
There's no one sat on the couch. I don't see anyone on the couch.
Yeah, man. I was like, what the hell is that? I'm sorry.
You're all seeing things.
Yeah, that just threw me off, man. I'm like, what in the hell is that, man?
Yeah, man. I invited my friends over in the background.
Okay.
And with Jared Goff and Brad Holmes. We go way back, man. We go way back.
Okay. But with the picks, man, I think at this point, Brad Holmes is like effing picks, man. I just think that you look at where the rosters constructed right now, they're not. It's going to be hard for those guys, especially those 4 guys, to make this roster. I understand, like, you need depth, and you're going to have, looking at the future of the team. But if you look at the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to be hard for anyone for the second and third, for that third and fourth round to make this roster, even fourth and fifth round picks.
No, I agree with you. That's why they traded up, and we still got a lot of draft picks next year's draft. We got a 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think. So I know we got 7 draft picks, I think, for next year. And you're right. We have 6 this year, and not everyone was going to make the roster. I think that's important to understand too. And that's something that we all talked about on here is And the roster's so good that if you were to get extra picks this year, some of these guys are just not going to make the team. So they did the F the picks idea. They got 6 players on this football team, and my favorite player for the pick itself, like getting a player for the pick in the round, I thought the Christian Mahogany was a steal in the 6th round. My God, I had a 3rd round grade on this guy. We get him in the 6th round. He's gonna be a guard. He'll be starting guard next year for sure. And just like the Ant-Man was saying, I tell you what, you don't want no injuries upon that offensive line because he could be taking some jobs there. And we just heard about Giovanni Manu talking about how he's supposed to be a guard on the right side next to Penei Sewell. So did we get 2 of our guards in the draft, Kurt? Like for the future?
I believe we did. I mean, and then you look at the guys that are in front of them right now. I mean, with that for the depth pieces, I mean, we have some depth on the offensive line for some years to come, and you got to have potential starters in depth positions for the upcoming season because you got those veterans, with Graham and Zeitler, and we don't know how long they're going to be available. And then you look at these young guys; they're keeping the competition in every room available. Is going to be competition to make the roster.
100%. Then we double up on the cornerback, right? Terry and Arnold. I'm so happy that we got him, right? I had him in my mock draft as the line's going to trade up and get him, and we did. So I was pretty happy about that. And he's a stud, the best cornerback I had in this draft. Him and Quinn Young-Mitchell was 1 and 2. And then you got N.S. Rakestraw in the 2nd round. Now, I know Brad Holmes said they're their number 2 rated cornerback. It's hard for me to believe that. I like Rakestraw too, but he was the number 2 rated corner. I think Quinn Young-Mitchell and Darren Arnold was 1-2. Where do you want to go? But he's a physical corner, loves to tackle, loves to hit. And guess what that means for Will Harris? You ain't coming back, bro.
Nah.
And matter of fact, Vildor may not even be on the team, right? So, like, when you look at this in the cornerback room there, Ant-Man, the future of there's some players that's not going to be on here that was on here last year.
See, I don't think we're ever going to see Emmanuel Mosley play a snap for the Lions.
Possible.
Again. I think that's him done with these picks. I want to keep Vildor around Vildor will be the depth piece. Like he's shown that he's a very good depth piece here. Mosley is still hurt and needs to prove himself. And at the end of the day, I'd rather the rookies and the 2 guys we've given up draft picks for as well by trade come in and do business as well. So obviously, they felt it was a big need and they have just gone in and completely revamped the room. It's what Brad does. He attacks one place at a time. This was the year for the pass defense because it was the one thing holding us back last year. Like we were just getting absolutely sliced and diced over the top, and we need to put some serious investment in. Now having this many corners means Branch can help out with the lack of depth at safety as well, because we are and I still expect them to. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a free agent safety come here soon, a veteran to round that room out. But it gives us all this, ability to move Branch around now. We don't have to use them at corner all the time. So I like it about that. For Rakestraw, this is the problem again I have when you have so many, when I do this all year long. I've been saying for the last 6 or 7 months that Ennis Rakestraw is not as good as Chris Abrams-Strain. He's the worst Missouri corner. He got took at 145. So I can't then turn my opinion around and go, oh, Rakestraw is the 2nd best corner, but I'd be betraying myself and everything I believe in. I can't. I put my views out there and I have to back them. I'm not sold on him this high personally. Like Abrams-Strain's smarter. And they have the same issues. They're a little bit undersized. His tackling needs a lot of work. Like he's one of those who dives for the ankles, gets hurdled, and this team has had trouble developing tackling, and especially in the secondary, there's been issues. I think he's, against the bigger, more physical guys, he has problems as well. And when you look at the Christian Watsons, Justin Jeffersons, that and all, it's going to be a struggle for him to start with. But the great part is, aside from all this, he doesn't need to start. Like, Darian Arnold will start. I think Carlton Davis will start. You can work him in and you can work on these issues going forward there. But, I agree with the double dip at corner. I'm not sold on the guy yet, but he's aligned now. I back him 100%. But, yeah, I think Mosley's done. I don't think we'll see Mosley again. I'd rather keep the depth guys we've got here.
Who do you think is the losers of this draft? And not necessarily the draft picks, but after the draft, right? You got players that are right on the team, like you're talking about Emmanuel Mosley. You talk about who do you think is the losers of this draft?
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, you look at a guy we spoke about him, Manuel Mosley. I think that his job security, even Vildor, their job security is definitely up there where they're gonna have to really like stand out to be at the bottom of the depth chart on this to make this roster. You look at and I definitely agree with you, Ant Man. You look at these young players that we have, we can develop them, and that's one thing that this regime has done well. They've developed players. You look at guys like a Derek Barnes, where second, third year we had a big jump. You look at a guy like that, or uh, you just look at improvement. Even a star like Amara St. Brown. Oh, hey, Rory. Um, he comes in, what I'm saying, and he has that, progression each year, and they develop talent, like better than any regime I've seen for the Lions, where they have a coaching staff that's there and they develop talent, and if they can't, the coaching staff they get replaced. You look at we have a new defensive backs coach. My man, former Lion, couldn't get it done back there in the secondary as a secondary coach. So what do? They move on from him. Defensive line coach not getting it done. What do? Bring in a new guy, Tara Williams. And I trust the coaching staff to develop these guys. But you look at this roster, and you can look at it's going to be some guys, some fan favorites that's down the depth chart that's not going to be here. And it's going to be hard for them to make the roster. You look at a guy like Stephon Gilmore. It's going to be hard for him to make the roster. People like him, because he plays hard. He's Stephon's little brother, but he may not be here. I mean, you look at this. The cornerback room is going to be a bloodbath, like Brad Holmes said, and those veteran corners are on notice that, hey, you may not be, even though we re-signed you, you may not be here. And I think that's the biggest threat on this roster. And I'm even liking some of the undrafted free agents to come in and battle too. I'm saying, like a Steel Chambers. Of course, I like him because of his name, but
Yeah.
but that guy, he plays sideline to sideline. He's a hard hitter, and he's going to make his way on this roster. There's going to be some guys who's not going to be here because of the young talent that we're building on in Detroit. Excuse me.
Yeah, it makes some good points right there. Absolutely. And Ant-Man, when you look at the draft, what is a position that we still have need for? Or because look, the free agency is still going on now. You can be able to sign some more players after the draft, help this team out. What do you look at that we did not address in the draft?
Well, just first, very quickly to add on to the thing before, Craig Reynolds is in a lot of danger now because Sione Valk is on the team. I don't think people are going to like that, but he's going to be a running back 3 going forward, I reckon. Edge, obviously, is the need that wasn't addressed. Maybe wide receiver, possibly, but that's not as big thing. But on edge, you're betting your chips on Davenport at the minute and Houston coming back fully healthy. So, I believe in James Houston. I don't think edge is as big of a need as some made out because I see him making the requisite steps forward. And we've still got Pascal. People have forgotten about Josh Pascal. Pascal took leaps forward last year as well. And he's also been dealing with injury. So it's not like we don't have anybody. It's just injuries have been holding some of these guys back. And you've got to figure at least one of Davenport, Houston, or Pascal will get through this season unscathed, relatively unscathed, be able to have a fully healthy season and be able to supplement Hutch. But you would have kind of liked another one in there. We're not beyond those guys. We've got Mookie Betts, and I don't really think you're going to want to see much out of him this year, apart from very situationally. And if you're blowing out people and stuff like that, and you can send them in for a few snaps. But yeah, certainly edge has been a problem. Outside of that, safety, we need to address safety. I know we're going to move. If we're going to move Branch sort of full time in there, then it'll be less of a worry for me. But we're still banking on 2 youngsters, one having a bounce back third season, Iffy being able to carry on last year. It's not a given thing that both of those are going to carry on playing great. Hopefully they do, but I think edge and safety are the ones where you're still a little bit, one injury and you are skirting the depth a little bit, which you really wouldn't want to. So
I agree with you. I think edge, they could get there and upgrade that position. Again, we got to wait till players get cut and then teams cut down at training camp and all that lovely stuff. You can still trade. So I said edge is a position I think that they could still get better at. Wide receiver as well. Tyler Boyd, whom the Lions had interest before the draft, is still available out there. That could be a wide receiver for the Lions, nearly the same identical numbers as Josh Reynolds. So that's an option. They could just go ahead and stay with Isaiah Williams, who they picked up as an undrafted rookie. A lot of promise as a wide receiver. They gave him $275,000 bonus. So that's a pretty big roster bonus for a player that's an undrafted. So keep an eye on him to make the roster as well. And just depth. Other than that, they did a really good job. This is a really solid team right now. No team is perfect. Every team has a need even after the draft. It's just the way that it works. And the Lions, I think, that did pretty good, but I'd like to see them get an edge at some point here. And I'm not going to flip out and go crazy and cry and whine and throw stuff that I didn't get the player that I wanted. That's just something I see the Lions could do to get a little better there. But yeah, definitely not going to wig out and throw a temper tantrum and go crazy about it. But that's something the Lions could get better at. Yeah, we're playing a freeze game back here, and we're trying to see who's going to win between the four of them right now, and it's a tie game. So those guys aren't moving right now in the background because they're playing the freeze game. It's just the way that it works here, folks. In 8 minutes, we're going to go for you guys for questions, and we'll just go ahead and go with there. What's a player's Kurt that you want the Lions to sign?
I'm looking at that safety position, like you guys said. Maybe a Justin Simmons, bring back one of my favorite Lions of all time, Quandre Diggs. You look at the safety position. Can we bring in a veteran safety? I'm looking at that. Zay, like Don Bird said, Zay Jones was released. Actually, one guy that we lost my man. One guy that's out there that has chemistry with Jared Goff still on the market, DJ Chark.
Chark.
DJ Chark's a guy that you can bring in. You can plug him in. He knows the system, and you can bring him back for a veteran minimum. You're not going to have to pay a lot for him. I like DJ Chark in this offense. So but whoever we bring in, I just don't want it to be to the detriment of the development of Jameson Williams. I think he's going to be set to have a big season. So as long as they can come in and bring a guy in that won't hamper that, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to see the rise of Jameson Williams as well. As long as it's not hampering that, I agree with you 110%. It's time for him to go off, right? We drafted this guy to be that number 2. It's time for him to be that number 2. And that's just the way that it goes. If you want your questions answered, do hashtag Lions, hashtag something. It's just so I can see it. That's really it. What about you, Ant-Man? What is a player you would like to bring in that's a free agent or a trade?
Justin Simmons. Like, I'm finishing that. He's like the perfect mentor for all the young guys we've got in that safety room. And he's still playing at a good caliber as pro as well. Like that's instantly where I want to go at this point. I just want that safety room because we've got a lot of new guys coming in at corner. There's going to be a lot of younger guys who've not been in our system there. We need that veteran in there who's going to be able to take charge of it all, just be able to calm things down if things start going a little awry. You want that leader in. And like, we're developing our own, but right now, I do want someone like him in there, someone who's got a bit of aura about him, whilst all these young guys bedding and are learning. So, it would definitely be at safety. I'm not fussed about receiver. Like, I hear people saying receiver, but like, we've got JMO. And JMO is going to be the guy this year. And this is a team problem at this point. This is not a JMO problem. This is a team problem. The team need to do right by JMO rather than JMO's done everything for this team that he can to earn touches of the ball and they have not given him touches of the ball. Like, the team have dropped the ball with him. They're responsible for this. This year, we need to be finding a way to manufacture touches for JMO, not just lobbing 60-yard moon balls up to him and hoping he can go get them and all this sort of stuff. Like, he's there. He's waiting. He's putting his work and effort. Get him going, and you're not going to have a problem at receiver this year. So I just pray that the team start utilizing him properly, because it solves a big problem for us if we do.
Yep, and the Chicago Bears, they drafted Caleb Williams and his nails, and pink cell phone and purse. So that's going to be a fun one to see, how the NFC North works there. And then you got J.J. McCarthy, went to the Minnesota Vikings. So that's the teams that we got to be going up against there for sure. And yes, he's right. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to have a bigger role this season, and that's a good thing. And I think that he can take on the bigger role for sure. What is going on, Spirit of Detroit podcast, man? What's up, AG in the building? Question here. Thoughts on the chances of Steel Chambers making the team practice squad? I'm going to give that to the Man of Steel.
I'm going to give him about a 35% chance to make the active roster. I think it's going to be special teams if he does, and maybe work his way in. You look at the guy, he plays with his hair on fire, sure tackler, he a big hitter. Surprised he dropped. Surprised he didn't get drafted. I wouldn't have said he was a top round draft pick, not in no means by saying that. But Ohio State, has a good record of linebackers. So he's coming out of that factory. So I would expect him to do everything he can to make the roster.
What about you? What's an undrafted rookie you think, Ant-Man, that has the potential to make the roster?
Isaac Rex. Out of everybody, Isaac Rex is going to make this roster. I'm as sure as this is when I did Detailer the other year. Like, he comes, you look at where he's coming from, BYU. Like, the tight ends there have to block for their lives. You have to be an excellent blocker in that system. He is a team leader. He's an exemplary person off the field. I've done, again, work on him during the pre-draft process there. He's very underutilized as a receiver. Like 1,200 yards in the last 2 years, but they've not really even began to scratch the surface with him as a receiver. But first and foremost, he'll come in and do what a tight end 3 does, and he'll come in, do the dirty work, and he'll give you a surprisingly good receiving option. I will bet my bottom dollar now that Isaac Rex makes this 53 over anybody else out of all the UDFAs.
Fire name, man. Rex. You can go with so many different things right there with that name. If he actually makes the team, he'd become a name fan favorite. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a big body guy. We lack size at wide receiver. I don't know. You got Jamison Williams a little bit taller. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones a little bit taller. And you got St. Brown. I don't know, man. I know that's the situation here is that we do lack size. I guess we could probably get another bigger guy, but what do you think? What do you think about that, Curtis Steele? Do we lack size? Maybe.
DPJ is definitely a big dude. If you look at the pictures of him doing the workouts, that dude is a big dude. But I don't think that this offense, and I don't think that really, if you look at Jared Goff, that's not really his wheelhouse. That's not really, he's not a throw it up guy. The 50-50 balls for him, you look at some of the contested catches by St. Brown, they're more of a, targeted where it's, where the guy can catch it. It's, I don't see Goff like a throw it up 50-50 ball type of player. So I don't see that. But I like our size at wide receiver. Like I said, Jamison Williams, and I think that the big body pass catcher is Sam Laporta. He's our big body guy. Yeah. He's our big body go across the middle guy besides St. Brown. So, and that's just how we use him. The size of our receivers don't bother me at all.
Bob O'Lane says, is Caleb going to be running for his life all season like Fields did? No additions to the Bears offensive line. Kurt, you say yes. And then Ant-Man. Go ahead and talk about that.
They should have gone O-line at 9. Like, you've got DJ Moore there already. You've invested in Keenan Allen. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got a whole load of pass catchers there. And you're going to let your star, struggle. because what was it? They got the Bills backup center in to play for them. You've still got a 7th round pick hanging around at left tackle. You've picked the massive brute out of Yale, but he's going to take a long time to develop at that point. And it's like he's going to be running for his life. That's why you win by your trenches. They're picking loads of shiny toys, but it's like the Burrow syndrome. He's going to struggle. Justin Fields struggled because he was running for his life all the time. We couldn't contain him, but he was still running. So I was confused, but I know they've given him all the weapons in the world, but he's not going to be able to use them so much.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why we got a lot of corners too. And we can combat the NFC North wide receivers. Ton of wide receivers in the NFC North, Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota. And so we sized up with some of those corners to match up with them. And I think that's kind of the way that it went there. But Caleb Williams, yeah, they got to get an offensive line. If you don't protect your quarterback, you're just going to get smashed. And hey, we all like the Cowboys, or not the Cowboys, but the Bears quarterbacks getting smashed. It's always a good thing. So I hope it continues, and they absolutely don't have a good offense this year. I think it's going to be better, though. I do think they're going to be better. Let's see. We've got a question here from Run DMG. Lions was at the draft, got floor seats day 2 by taking someone from the NFL Network, Matt Berry. Best day ever. What are your best moments of the draft? Best moments of the draft was Lions trading up and getting Terrion Arnold. I absolutely lost it. You can actually see the reaction to Everything King's video. We all lost it because we were talking about getting Terrion Arnold. All of us are like, we got to get this guy. And when we traded up, we knew we got Terrion Arnold. I absolutely lost it. What was your favorite moment, Kurt, and then Ant-Man?
Yeah, it's got to be the same. I mean, even you look at the reaction, the pan out reaction, the video that was on NFL Network and other websites, especially on X or Twitter. Yeah, I'm a Twitter guy. Is whatever, but the crowd just went. The whole crowd went bananas out there at the draft when we traded up for Terrion Arnold. It was one of the best things, because I was just like, we need a corner, man. We played around enough with it enough. You know, we've got these guys 3rd, 4th round cornerbacks in Detroit with Brad Holmes, and it was time to get a 1st round talent. So it was it was great. That was the moment for me. I was on the cruise ship. My son was asleep. I was watching my wife. I was watching it on my laptop. And I was like, yeah, I try not to make too much noise, but that was my favorite moment of the draft, the Terrion Arnold pick.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, that was a great moment, but you two have said it. So I think my other favorite moment was when the crowd vehemently booed every Green Bay Packers draft pick to the point I could barely hear the name that was getting mentioned for them. Like, I felt sorry for the NFL woman on day 2 when she kept going like, she's not done anything wrong whatsoever. But it was just a delight just to hear the reactions. Like the Detroit crowd was like, yeah, I loved it. Just they booed everything, the Bears picks, and I apologize for those insufferable Brits who came over on stage on our part. I'm like, oh, the Bears and the Packers ones, they were terrible.
Yeah.
I've said I'm going to go to Green Bay next year and announce a pick. I'm going to do it. I've announced my candidacy to do it because I'm going to go and talk so much trash about them on stage there that you will love it. It will live forever. So that's my goal this year.
Yeah,
go ahead.
The one fan that was, if you look at the 1st round pick of the Green Bay Packers, and the guy in the cheese head dropped his head, and the Lions guy was giving him the business.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was absolutely hilarious. That's probably my one B as far as my favorite moments, because that was hilarious. They were like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
That was awesome, man. The Lions crowd out there was absolutely epic for the draft, man. Breaking all the records, chanting the Jared Goff. People was having a great time.
In fact, I've got to put a 1B there because obviously one of our guys announced a pick there as well. So Ryan announced Christian Mahogany. Yeah. So a big shout out to International Fan of the Year, Ryan Farden, who was a part of our podcast, who went out there, did a great job, and he got to call a really good pick as well. He got to call the Mahogany pick. So we love that from our point of view, us Brits representing.
That was epic. That was epic, and I can't wait for next year when you announce the 32nd pick, in Green Bay, and the Detroit.
I've
Super
announced
Bowl
my
champion
candidacy.
Detroit Lions. Yeah.
I am serious about this. I am serious. I'm going to go for it because I just want to go out there, get booed like no one's ever been booed before, and just rub it in their faces. Like I will represent us well.
You could say so many things too, and it would be glorious.
Exactly.
Oh my God. JT's Mass says, how much better is Green Bay going to be on defense? I think they're just overhyping the draft because of how many picks they had. They had a ton of picks in this draft. Not everyone's going to make that team. I think the Green Bay is going to have a good defense. I don't know. I think they're overhyping a little bit, but all honesty, I thought the Green Bay got bad grades. I didn't think they have the greatest draft. In my opinion, I think we screwed them again by jumping up there and getting our guy, Terrion Arnold. Again, another trade-up scenario, which was glorious. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, that happened to them again. What up, there, Coach Mike, Wolver Lion Sports Talk. You look at that, they got screwed twice because the Eagles went up and got Cooper DeJean. So we ain't got Terry Arnold. Eagles went up and got Cooper DeJean. That's one of the guys they really wanted, I guess. They're kind of downplaying. Oh, we didn't want him. No, BS. A lot of Packers, especially their guys that are content creators, were saying they wanted Cooper DeJean, and I believe that was the truth. You look at their secondary. Outside of their top corner, they're not really that great, say in their secondary. They can be had. So you look at their defense, good up front. Their linebackers struggle in coverage, and the back end of the secondary, outside of one side of the field, you can dominate the other side of the field with in their secondary. So they didn't get that much better on defense. I agree with the post.
What's up with Manu saying he's going to start at the right guard while hearing Mahogany's legs aren't the same length, making him only a right guard? Does this mean that Sorsdale is heading back to right tackle? I think Sorsdale better produce a little bit better this year, in all honesty. I think this draft kind of put him a little bit on notice, in all honesty. I think that's where they want the right guard at. They're going to have a battle and see who's the backups. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. What does it mean for Sorsdale? Does he go to right tackle? I don't think so.
Yeah, Yodi outplayed him last year.
Yeah. I think he's in trouble. I think he better develop quicker than fast, because if he doesn't, he could be the odd man out. What do you think about this offensive line backup role, the Ant-Man? We know that this year we know what it's like, but next year could be a big transition.
So, again, this is where I have a little bit of a problem with the draft that we've had, because I love Hank Fraley. I love the job he's done here. He's one of the best O-line coaches in the league. The trouble is, one of the things he's not done is develop a day 3 pick for the line. Like, these guys are all first rounders, third rounders, high draft picks there. Our draft picks now, our draft depth on the line now consists of Sorsdal, who is a day 3 pick, who people are already starting to doubt, Manu, who is a CFL development level talent, and Mahogany, who I think is amazing, but if there are bigger problems with him here, that's our future. And right now, we've not developed a day 3 guy. And there's a lot of development for them to be done. I did want this to be the year where we put in a little bit more towards the line to guarantee its future. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I do trust them. But like you say, it's a big year for Sorsdal. We need to see the Sorsdal and Martin picks start to work this year. Yeah. Because then that will reinforce my belief that, maybe people might say we've reached this year, the talent's not good. We're going to be able to develop them. If they don't start developing in year 2, then you're looking at this year and you're thinking, are we going the same way here? Are we going to have some issues? So it's to be seen at this moment in time. I always said Sorsdal should have stayed at right. I don't like moving guys around on the line. Like, he's played right tackle, keep him at right tackle. For Mahogany, you can play him at both guard positions. There's no problems with Mahogany and his leg size. It doesn't matter. He is coming, and I can't stress this enough, from one of the finest offensive line systems in college football, who create the best guys with the best technique. It does not matter. He's going to be just fine.
Great pick.
For Manu, it just seems a very extreme change from left tackle to right guard at this point. That is going to take a lot of development for a guy his size. I know he's shredded and everything, but it's all about your muscle memory playing on the other side of the line. You are teaching a CFL guy to play a completely different position to what he's used to. So that's going to lengthen his development process. Like in 12 months, we could potentially have a lot of issues, depending on what's going on with Ragnow and his health, Taylor and his contract situation, Zeitler, etc. We could have 2-3 holes we need to fill quickly. Do I see it in the development guys we've got right now? No. Which means you're going to have to invest some of next year's high picks into offensive line when maybe you didn't have to. So just color me skeptical at the moment. Like, obviously, I like the guys. I like what they can be. I think Mahogany will be a part of this. But as for everyone else, we need to see them develop quicker. Otherwise, we're going to have an issue.
Definitely Brad Holm we trust, 100%. But we'll always have a little bit worries, and I think that's okay. I think Brad Holm's the best GM in football. That's my thing, but there's always a little bit worries, right? Like you said, we got to make sure that offensive line is good for next year. And I agree. I think these guys got to develop. You're going to see a lot of them play in preseason.
So
Mahogany,
this was
Sorsdale.
This was the big thing with me. It's like after the draft, I'm like, you see people trashing it and everything, and like people outside. I put a post like saying, Brad Holmes knows more than you, shut up. But then there's a lot of people replying to it, and there's a lot of people who are Lions fans now who they don't believe they now have an outlet to question any of these moves. And we've got to remember that we do need to try and be critical as well. We need to ask questions about some of these things. And like I say, the O-line question is a legitimate one. We've got 0 but day 3 guys there now, and we've not developed a single one. It is right to possibly be worried about that in the future. So I'm just trying to balance myself. I don't want to just say trust Brad all the time. I trust him all the time, but it's part of our thing we have to try and balance this out and make a reasoned debate out, because there are a lot of people out there who feel that you can't have this debate now. So I'm just trying to look at it from both sides.
Yeah, you definitely could be unbiased and kind of look for both sides. You could still say that Brad Holmes is the best GM in football, but to never even question anything, that's just, you can't do that. You should be, that goes for anybody and anybody. Like, that's just the way it is. Do you think Ennis Rakestraw Jr. will be good? For me personally, I'm worried about the size of him being able to cover big bodies. I'm not concerned about his size. I think he is going to be a stud. If we had got Rakestraw in the second round and got somebody else in the first round, I don't think a lot of people would even be questioning the Rakestraw pick. But it's because we got Tyrion Arnold. I think that a lot of people are in there. I had Rakestraw in my mock draft, 3 of my mock drafts out of 5. I had him in there. He's a physical guy. He likes to hit, great at tackling. He just seems like a Dan Campbell type of guy, but there's going to be development, and all these players are going to have rookie moments. I think we got to be patient with all of them. If they make a rookie mistake, they're not a bust. Okay. Right. Hutchinson was not a bust after year 1. Penei Sewell is not a bust after year 1. St. Brown is not a bust. So be patient, everybody. But yeah.
I don't worry about it. I mean, and you look at, and this is one of the reasons why the NFL, you can't come out after your 3rd year in school, because your body has to develop, and his body's going to develop. He's going to get bigger. They're going to put some size on him, and they're going to put some muscle on him. I'm not saying he's going to gain like 30 pounds or something like that, but they're going to put probably about 10 pounds of muscle on him. By the time he gets to the part where he's going to be developed as a starter, he's going to be a bigger guy by that time.
What about you and Rakestraw there, Ant-Man?
Oh, yeah.
Well, again, like I've already made my point about this. I've been saying for the last 6 months that I like Abrams Drain more, so I can't just say it's a home run pick. But I do agree, if he adds frame to, I think he'll be fine over the long term. I just think one's higher IQ than the other, and will work out better in the long term. But for us, again, I think he's in a perfect position. We do not need Ennis Rakestraw to start day 1. Like Terry Arnold's going to do that, and Carlton Davis is going to do that. So we can get him right then put him in. It's not going to be like a Cooter and we're going to throw him out there against Justin Jefferson day 1. We are going to take our time. And that's where I think the pick when you're there, it makes more sense. You're like, right, I've got a starter out the draft. Now I've got a guy who could potentially be good. He's got some issues, but could potentially be good. And we can blood him in whilst we sort this out. Because again, we have to take into account corner development's been spotty so far. We got new guys in. Let's hope it can be great. But I want some of our guys to be able to sit and work. Because think of all the guys, Jerry thrown in there, did great, but then flamed out because you're just constantly exposing. Like these guys, they don't get a rest. And it'd be nice to have a situation where we can just take one of these draft guys, sit them and wait. And hopefully we see the benefits from that.
I think we all should kind of like give Dan Campbell some credit here and these coaches. They know how to develop players. This is not something that happened before where you draft a guy and that's the best they get. They know how to develop these guys, and they're going to put them in positions to succeed. So when Rakestraw is out there, he's going to be out there, parts of the games. It's going to be something that he's going to excel in, and it's going to look good. These guys know how to develop players. Futu Mafanwu, Derek Barnes, St. Brown. Like, there's so many development in these guys that I'm not too worried about it. I trust our coaches. Hashtag Lions. Outside of Lions, who do you feel had the best draft? Everybody seems to love Philly, Pitts, and the Chargers, but I do like a few players Seattle picked up. Oh, okay. What about you there, Kurt? What's your...
Yeah, I got family members that are huge Steelers fans. Looking at their draft, I think they had a good, solid draft. They got some areas of address that they needed. Not too familiar with a lot of these, because I really don't care about Philly, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers. So I really don't. I mean, but you look at Chicago, they had a decent draft, but they didn't address the area that I think this is most concerned for that franchise. It was the offensive line, and I got to agree with you. And it's just, I mean, and to some of those, I guess, to me, naive Chicago Bears fans who thinks that Williams is going to come in and be the savior year one. I heard someone give an analysis of this as far as the Bears and Williams. He played in a offense under Lincoln Riley that really was a one side of the field read. Now he's got to read the whole field in the NFL, and he's not going to have time to read because he doesn't have an offensive line that's going to protect him. So yeah, but I think that they had a solid offseason as far as in our division. I think the Bears made probably some of the biggest moves in the division, but they're not. If they don't address the offensive line with better players, they're not going to. It's not going to come to fruition. They could still end up with the same record as last year or even worse.
I thought the Cardinals had a pretty good draft. I'd give them some love over there.
Maserati Marv.
Yeah, I thought they did pretty good. Read today that the players can wear pillow pads on their helmets during the actual games, equipped with logos of helmet pads. Oh my God. Who do we think, if anyone's the first to wear one of these things? Those things that looks like a gigantic mushroom on your head. I can't wait to see if people wear.
Oh, the Halo pads. Yeah.
We can put one on Dan Skipper so they don't mix him up with any other offensive lineman.
That's true.
Yeah, and put Skipper on it. Don't put the Lions logo. Just put Skipper on it. Skipper on one side is and his number on the other. So they don't know.
Just eligible written across the front of it.
Yeah.
Just a big sign.
Yeah. Add that mushroom to his head, make him 7 foot tall.
I don't know. I mean, but like, to be honest with you, I think someone's going to do it. I can't tell you who, but you got guys that are worried about concussions, and you got some of the veterans that they want to protect their livelihood going forward. Their quality of life. It's going to be someone. It may not be someone on the Lions, but I think it's going to be a few players in the league who's going to wear the Halo pads in the regular season.
I would expect it to be one of the higher tackling positions. Like the linebackers would probably benefit from it if one of those is good, especially the ones who, like you say, are getting a little bit older. Maybe Anzalone would. Like Anzalone tackles like a machine every single year, and he's getting on now. He's coming to the last few years of his deals. Last thing he wants is to take a stinger or a concussion or something like that and potentially ruin one more contract with us. So, like, maybe a running back as well. Like, for us, I don't know whether any of ours would, but I think it would be linebacker or running back. One of them high contact, every play positions you are taking an absolute walloping.
I'd love to see Khalif Raymond in it because all you'd see is a helmet running. He's so small with this gigantic helmet. And I think the wind would slow him down. Like when you're running, he's catching up kind of like a sailboat or something like that. But I would love for him to do it. That would be cool.
I wouldn't be surprised. Now, don't quote me on this. I wouldn't be surprised if within maybe 5 to 10 years that Halo is going to be a requirement for alignment.
Oh man, I hope you're wrong. I agree.
I hope I'm wrong. But
possible.
if you look at the NFL and their player safety initiatives and to be honest with you, the NFL is about money. The less payouts they have to have for a physical, when guys retire from the league, the less medical payments they have to pay out. They want that money in the pockets of the league and in the owners. Something's telling me this is the first step of that being a requirement for in the league going down the line.
I think
you'd have to see that in college first. I reckon you would have to acclimatize players to doing that because there are a lot of guys out there who hate the thought of having to pad up, and if you bring them to the NFL and they're like, actually, you've got to wear pads now when you've not done it for your entire career up to this point. Like, I think if you see a shift in collegiate football first, and that's a requirement, then they come through college football knowing nothing but wearing the helmet first, and then they get up to the NFL, and then they can't. I think you've got to get rid of those attitudes towards it. So I would wait and see if anything happens.
I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Man, I hope that looks so goofy, man. And I know, player safety, I know, I get it, but good.
But the NFL is doing a great job with the newer helmets that they're getting from their manufacturers. That I think they're doing a great job with that. But something's telling me that if they're making it an option, sooner or later it's going to become a requirement.
You'll find a redevelopment first. I think they'll redevelop them. You'll find a design that doesn't.
Yeah, it'll be a smaller version of what they have now.
You'll find some kind of material that's you can lose a little less of. It's still quite absorbent, does the same job, and do it that way. So it would be one of those two.
Garbage, man. Looking like a freaking mushrooms, like we're in Super Mario and hit a question mark. Got a mushroom, man. God, that would really. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'd have a hard time watching that because that's all I'd be looking at is these freaking helmets.
So if one team didn't then design their logos to look like the red mushroom out of Mario, I would be disappointed.
That would be awesome.
That would be hilarious. The Kansas City mushroom.
Just give different colors to different positions. Like give J-Mo the blue mushroom because he's that much quicker than everybody else and catches up to everyone. Like do something like that.
Oh man, the National Mushroom League. Here we go. Here. I'm very interested in the 4th round pick, Cyan Vaki. Can't wait to see how we use him. Now he was saying that he's probably just going to be on offensive special teams. So is a running back and kick returner. It's be interesting how they use him. What do you think they're my guy is to you?
Yeah, you look at. I'm interested to see Brad Holmes how he talked about. He went to his pro day and the guy did the running back workout, the safety workout, or the DB workout. He lined up at receiver, and he did special teams workout. So I'm interested to see how they use this guy too.
There's a reason you don't have two-way players in the league. Like you have got to, when you get the level of competition in the NFL is far too high for you to be a jack of all trades on both sides of the ball. Like I don't want my guy to be a running back 4 and a safety 4. And we've given up 2 picks for him as well. Like we've invested a lot of capital in him. I don't want some two-way 4th string guy for 2 picks in the 4th round. I'd go get that in the 7th round. Commit to one side of the ball. Commit to one side. He's met with all the offensive coaches. Like that's the big thing. He's met with Ben Johnson. He's met with Scotty Montgomery. Like they're going to use him. They'll use him like we used to use Jamal Agnew. Like, that's going to be the role for him here. And then at worst, if you are absolutely wrecked in the safety department, you can't wheel anybody's out onto the field, then you can flip him for a bit of time maybe. But, like, there's a reason these guys don't exist in the league.
So Mario kind of agrees with you. Oh, looks like you're getting off.
Yeah, I gotta hop off, guys. Great to see everyone. You
Might as well
can check
just
me
close
out
the show out right now then, because it's all on that time. Appreciate everybody hanging out, man. And with that said, peace.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're proud.